Hello everyone and welcome back guys to episode 14 of our F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back. 3 races to go of F1 2020. Yep, obviously if you guys missed out on yesterday's video from F1 2021 with our first look at Breaking Point, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. From Monday onwards, F1 2021 will be the thing on this channel. So if you aren't already subscribed, make sure you do so as well, of course. But yeah, just 3 races to go here on F1 2020. It really does seem crazy that this game is coming to an end as well, of course. As always, I cannot thank you guys enough for the continued support. If you missed out on the Japanese Grand Prix last time around as well, make sure you go back and check it out as well, of course. But championship-wise, though, we're building up a little bit of a margin. We've had a couple of really good races in recent weeks there. Pierre Gasly now seems to be our biggest title threat as we head in toward this Grand Prix there. Charles Leclerc, mathematically out of it. It is now just down to 6 of us in the title battle as well, of course, there. 78 points available, Charles Leclerc 79 behind us. But yeah, there is still a lot to play for, both in the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship as well. The top 3 teams now separated by just 23 points as well. So we need to keep getting big results in the last few races of this year. See what we can achieve. Let's dive into the US Grand Prix. Well, heading out into Q1 then for the US Grand Prix. It's looking like a very slippery circuit here. But just like Japan last time around, we might be getting some changeable conditions in Q1. Everyone did their first runs on the full wets. But you can see now on the intermediates, seems to be a little bit more grip on the circuit as we head down through Sector 1. Just keeping it nice and tidy. And seeing now, hopefully, we were one of the last cars onto a lap. Hopefully we can try and find a lot more time and get ourselves through into Q2 nice and easily. Nick de Vries currently sat in P18 on a 108.9 at the end of the middle sector here. 1.7 seconds up on my previous lap as we're just trying not to make any mistakes. Are we going to be up on Nick de Vries though? Yes we are, by 1.4 purple through the middle sector there as we have a bit of a lock up through the next turn. But as we head down in towards the final few corners, team saying it's going to dry up, so that should be in for Q2, which is what we love to see. But round in the final few corners then of this lap, just trying to keep it nice and tidy through the Turkey S section. They're 2.5 seconds up now, so we head in towards the final corner. So are we going to see any major surprises then out in Q1? It looks like most of the Haas and the Alfa Romeos here, but Williams nailed it last week. 3 seconds up as we head out of the final corner, and that's going to put us straight to the top at the end of Q1. That's what we needed. There we go then, so at the end of Q1, fastest by half a second there over George Russell, who did actually do his lap on the wets. Most of the guys actually still on the wet tyres there, as Latifi, P13 for Williams there. Charles Leclerc, really good lap for him. For us, obviously, we need him scoring big points at the end of the year there. Danny Kvyat, though, a big championship threat in P3, down in 17th place at the end of Q2, the slowest man on the full wet tyres there, so not what he needed, and that is going to make his title chances a whole lot thinner. We saw it though from Hamilton and the Red Bulls last week though. Not impossible still from the rear of the field. Right, heading out then in Q2, it looks like it's going to be one of those sessions where being one of the last cars on a lap is going to be the way to go there. Hamilton at 28.0. Charles Leclerc goes even faster than him though. Was Max Verstappen new fastest lap time on the board there. I think everyone else is coming to the end of their runs, so we've taken a bit of a gamble trying to make sure we get out to start our runs there. As you can see, Giotto down in P13 on the Inters. He's definitely out on a lap at the moment as well, of course. Here, Gasly now goes fastest as well. But are these guys trying to go for double runs? We won't have as much information as a lot of them as we fling it through the first sector there. The speed you're able to maintain through Sector 1 is ridiculous in this thing at this late stage of the game there. Nice sugar curb on the exit of the S's there as we head back down the hill, though. Are we going to see the likes of Verstappen try and complete a second run? Or are they going to call it quits after one lap? Come on, Verstappen, if you're going to get out the way, get out the way properly, man. We're gaining in on him as we head in towards Sector 3 here, surely. There we go, the Ferrari does jump out the way. Would have liked him to do it down the straight, I'll be honest, but we won't worry about that all too much. There is 2 tenths up on Lando Norris as we head down in towards Sector 3. Isn't particularly comfortable at the moment there, as a big kick of oversteer is not going to help us out either as we head in towards the final sector of the lap. We're going to have to absolutely nail these last couple of corners here if we want to try and get ourselves safely through, as that's not the line. The IndyCar line through the penultimate corner there. We'll keep our foot in, though. Try and get ourselves into Q3, down towards the line. It's only P13. It's not good enough in the end there. So, did the track get worse again on that final lap or what? Whatever happened, we did not have the pace for Q3 here. Look at that. Pierre Gasly, fastest in the air, like we said, on his 27.5. We were only half a second off, and we didn't make it through into Q3 there. So the likes of Perez and Guan Yu Zhou out of nowhere, rapid in this qualifying session. They're both Red Bulls, both Ferraris sneak through. Our teammate Charles Leclerc down in P8 as well, but out in Q2 for the US Grand Prix. Surely this puts the ball back in Pierre Gasly's side of the court at this stage of the day there. We needed another 2 tenths to get through, and we just couldn't find them.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin, in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself 14 miles southeast of the city centre and home to the US Grand Prix since 2012. The latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. We have 10 turns to the left and 10 to the right here at the fantastic Circuit of the Americas. Overtaking opportunities into turns 1 and 12 at this anti-clockwise 3.6 mile track. But we may well see cars struggle to slow down there today as the wet weather does interfere with the low speed grip. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Now, we probably ought to start by discussing Pierre Gasly. They need second or better to ensure they stay in contention for the title. Anything outside of that and their fate is no longer in their hands.
And they can do it for sure, as long as they don't dwell too much on the position. At the end of the day, there's only one way to go racing, and that's to give it everything you've got. Either your best is good enough to stay in the hunt, or it's not. There's no point giving any less than 100%.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. George Russell did very well in qualifying yesterday and will start today's race from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Albon, Leclerc, Esteban Ocon, and Gasly, Stroll, Giotto, Zhou, and Lewis Hamilton. Norris, Mr. Monaco, Kimi Raikkonen, and Latifi, Perez, Kvyat, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Nick de Vries, King, Magnussen, Matsushita, and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
We're in good position for the Constructors' title. There are 3 races left, so we need some good results.
Well, I'm not quite sure what Crofty and Anthony Davidson are smoking heading into this weekend. There is no mathematical way we can wrap up the title here today, unless, of course, Gasly gets banned from the championship, which I don't think is the thing on F1 2020 here. But Ferrari looks strong around this US Grand Prix circuit. Looking at the weather, though, wet to stormy to wet to intermediate conditions in this Grand Prix. That is going to make things very, very interesting here. We've only had one stormy Grand Prix so far in F1 2020, and we managed to win it back at the Spanish Grand Prix earlier on this year there. So this one is going to be a big, big challenge for us here today. 25.5 laps worth of fuel in the tank. I just want to get our head down, focus on trying to get to the end of this one in one piece here. Lose as few points as possible to the Alpha Tauris and our other title rivals there. It's 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go for the US Grand Prix. Try and get the power down in 2nd, 3rd and 4th gear. They're really happy with the power as we head down towards turn 1. Hamilton chucks it up the inside of quite a few cars. That Hamilton all the way up to 4th. As we head through turn 1 there, he drops back down to 5th behind our teammate Charles Leclerc, as we've made up a couple of spots off the start as well there. What's Luca Giotto doing on lap 1 of this Grand Prix? They're completely tried to... How is that our fault, Codies? Guan Yu Zhou has just completely cut across us on lap 1 of this Grand Prix there, and if ever our day can get more difficult, now we've got an absolute mountain to climb here in Kota. Been turned around on lap 1. Yeah, Guan Yu Zhou, don't know if he just didn't spots on the inside there or what. I know obviously he saw Giotto bail out of it, but we were never going to bail out in that situation, and well, really this time around it was clearly not the right idea for us. Luckily, don't think we picked up any front wing damage in that one, or a tiny bit on the right-hand side there, but that shouldn't cost us too much over the course of this Grand Prix. Ferrari, though, still lead as we head down the back straight. Of course, luckily they're not a threat in the Constructors' Championship. There really hasn't been Max Verstappen's year, and Jack Aitken basically contributed nothing about the first half of the year there. But yeah, we need to get our head down now, and this one very quickly has turned into damage limitation. End of lap 1, though. You can see we're still about 2.5 seconds behind Nobuharu and Matsushita in this Grand Prix, but we are closing back in, and hopefully, yeah, we can, at the very least, still score some points here. To be honest, I think the important thing in this Grand Prix is now just keeping our head down and trying to make sure these wet tyres last as long as possible in this Grand Prix, because things are going to get tougher before they get easier in terms of track conditions here. So as long as we can keep this rubber in good nick, try and really extend the stint as far as possible here, we might just be able to get to the intermediate period towards the end. Kota's never been bad on tyre wear either. We could consider trying to go to the end. It's very, very early days to be trying to guess that, but it's just a thought. Right. As much as I want to save the tyres here, we can't afford to get stuck behind slower cars for all too long. Thought about having a look at the inside of Matsushita in towards the hairpin there, but not enough bravery on the brakes. Hopefully now we can try and get decent wheel spin off the corner. Let's see if we can try and get a run on him down in towards Sector 3 of this lap. Let's wait and see. There we are, gaining quite a bit on the Alfa Romeo, man. We'll go later on the brakes. Oh, make sure we don't hit K-Mag. That was almost a very, very bad incident. And Matsushita's going to make me look like an idiot. Straight cut back on the exit of the corner. We just, yeah, don't seem to have the confidence after that lap 1 scuffle with Guan Yu Zhou. Might have a look at the inside here. Get the car to the apex. Cheers. I guess apparently our car's invisible this week. Matsushita turns into me, but we pull off the move with no damage. Team is saying it was a nice move, so I'm going to guess no damage, yeah. Oh, getting a big old run on Magnussen as we head out of Sector 1 there. Let's have a look down the inside as K-Mag tries to defend from us. Nothing happening there for you, buddy. Up into P20 of the Grand Prix. And yeah, we're making good progress. Next up, Carlos Sainz in what is a very, very poor McLaren at this late stage of my team. Not quite the same car as we had in the McLaren RTG. What a disappointing time it's been for McLaren on F1 2020.
15 minutes or so. You should start finding more grip as we clear the standing water. Full course caution. The safety car is out. Keep an eye on the delta.
Why have we got a safety car in this Grand Prix? No one's stopped.
Maintain positive delta.
No one's retired. I mean, we're going to pit in for a fresh set of wets because we may as well. Not really got anything to lose in this Grand Prix, but why on earth have we been given a safety car here? That's very, very strange on F1 2020. I mean, it bunches up the field, so I guess it works for us, but haven't seen anything like that in a long time. I guess the team are going to change the front wing as well. Again, if we're not going to lose any time, we're not going to worry. But very, very weird. Come on, get on with it. 9 seconds is not great, I'll be honest, by the team. Guess they're just not feeling the pressure at the moment, as Ocon and Gasly have both pit as well. So I'm not too sure what's going on here, but makes things interesting nonetheless. Right, well, about to go green then once more here for the US Grand Prix as we reach 1/4 race distance. I can only guess the safety car was for the track conditions because it was just getting wetter and wetter here at Kota. The team were saying it's meant to get drier again in about 10-15 minutes, so we might see it get dry enough for the intermediates later on in this Grand Prix. But again, on the new set of wets, we're just going to try and keep our options open in this Grand Prix. We probably, I reckon, could get these to the end if we needed to. I reckon we could have probably got the first stint to the end, but there was no point risking it. The team is saying they definitely think it's worth staying on these tyres. Well, team are also saying apparently it's getting drier, as what on earth is going in towards the final corner here. Not too sure what's happening. We got yellow flags out. Is someone having issues in this Grand Prix? No, apparently not again. As we just try and get the power down. The AI always so strong off these restarts, especially in the wet. I don't think we're really going to be able to do much this lap unless they Constantina up into turn 1. Even then, I don't have the bravery to even close up fully to them before we're even on the exit of the corner. Right, all over our main championship rival, Pierre Gasly. Who would have thought heading into this weekend we'd be battling out for last place at this stage of the day? It reminds me of the race at Belgium where both George Russell and I ended up out in Q1. It really has been such a mixed season in terms of results there. No one really has had particularly brilliant consistency as Ocon going to go defensive on Pierre. Oh, we've misjudged that. How on earth we didn't hit anyone there? I will never know. We got a warning for a collision with Matsushita, so I'm guessing he... Well, I say he turned in on us. Don't think you can really call it like that, but that was just way too optimistic on the brakes there, and somehow we've come away from that one unscathed. That was a bit too close for comfort. All over the back of Pierre Gasly again, just one lap later, and look at that, we got the power around the outside through the Turkey S section perhaps. Let's see if we can maintain the momentum. This could be move of the year for us. Right around the outside of Pierre Gasly as we head in towards the penultimate corner of the lap there. Take a lot of curb on the inside. He really tried to squeeze us there, but that might be move of the year for ourselves, and it could be a critical move as well at this stage of the championship. We need to finish ahead of Gasly here. We need to try and keep building up the points buffer. But now we've got Ocon trying to look for a move on Matsushita up the inside of Ocon though. Oh, a little bit of contact. Esteban Ocon not happy with that one, I'm sure. But we've pulled off another move in this Grand Prix. Now let's just see if we can get past Matsushita as well. So 3 cars maybe in a quick concession here. And after that one little mistake on the restart lap, round the outside of Matsushita we go. Thank you very much. Nowhere near the same grip in that Alfa Romeo as a lot of the other cars. And as the track starts to dry a little bit, we are getting into the groove. Should have a lot more extra grip than Kevin Magnussen at this stage of the day. Fresher rubber and a far quicker car as well, of course, here. Are we going to see K-Mag diving in? No, I thought you might have been considering it then. As we head through the final corner, let's try and get the power down nice and tidy and slip past the Haas, of course. Their home Grand Prix, but I think years of pretty much no success in this series has basically meant that no Americans come here expecting a Haas masterclass. I'll be honest. Up the inside, though, of K-Mag through T1. And we're now up at a P18, which is the highest we've driven since lap 1. Says a lot about this US Grand Prix, and we're almost at half distance. Oh, Sainz to try and have a look on Nick de Vries in this Grand Prix. Maybe we can try and capitalise on this. So you head down through the hairpin, try and get a nice straight run on the exit of the corner there. No wheel spin at all. That was really great hookup on the exit of the corner there. Of course, Sainz obviously had a penalty, so that's why he's so far down the order in this Grand Prix, but not really making inroads like I'm sure he would have wanted at the inside of Carlos Sainz. And the Spaniard has to concede 17th place. Nick de Vries and Jordan King now just in front of us. Hopefully these guys aren't going to be too difficult to get around either. So we might try and go for a bit of a send on de Vries into here. Let's have a look. Up the inside we go. Oh, again, the AI just trying to turn in on me there, but we've clearly gone for it, Nick de Vries. And we'll have P16 as well. Former teammate Jordan King next up on the agenda as we head on to lap 12 here. Well, I think the million-dollar question at this stage of the race is when is it going to be the right time to go on to some inters. Oh, that was very, very close to us at the Grand Prix there. Jordan King breaking a lot earlier than I was expecting in that Alfa Romeo through turn 1. But we live to fight another day. Right, come on then, Jordan King. Hopefully this time around you're not going to brake check me in towards quite a big braking zone. Look at that run we've got on Jordan King. So we head down the hill, up the inside we go. And that'll be P15 is now ours. We've got a good gap though to the guys in front, so hopefully we can get our head down. Just keep to ourselves for a few laps. Ooh, there we go, lap 14, new fast lap of the Grand Prix. We are definitely in the groove at the moment. I always feel like I'm at my best on the F1 games when we're on a drying track, and today is no different. Right, lap 15 then, all over the back now of Danny Kvyat, but as we've closed up to most of the midfield runners, we really now need to start being careful about our overtakes a lot more. There's a lot more time that can be lost now in the process, and a lot more work that will need to be closed back up if we make a mistake there. We've actually got Latifi for the second race running in the points. So Williams, I know a few guys mentioned it in the last video, of course, threw away that points finishing position at the Japanese Grand Prix. Maybe today they can hang on and get their first points of the season on the board. They've been very, very competitive over the last few weeks, just haven't quite found enough. Oh, there we go. So we've actually seen a load of the guys behind us dive into the pit lane there. The gap to Nick de Vries now up to 18 seconds in this Grand Prix. So they clearly think it's time for another set of the wets as we get all squirrely out of the hairpin there. That's going to ruin any chance of getting past Kvyat this time round. But clearly, yeah, they're all thinking their tyres are pretty worn out at this stage, but don't think it's quite time to move to some inters yet. This is where the race could fall into our hands, because of course we're on fresher rubber that we've really looked after. Can we try and find the move past Danny Kvyat? I really don't want to get stuck behind the AlphaTauri for very long in this Grand Prix. At the inside, no. Far too far back this time round. We do see George Russell, the leader, into the pit, so clearly they all do believe it is time to make the call there. Russell actually takes fastest lap away in the pit lane there. Charles Leclerc, our teammate, into the pits as well. Are we going to see the three in front of us into the pit lane as well? It would work out really well for us at this stage of the Grand Prix there. No, all of them stay out for an extra lap here. So where are we going to move up to, and how far away from George Russell are we going to be in this Grand Prix there? You can see as they head back out of the pit lane. We're going to be up ahead of our teammate Charles Leclerc. No one, are we? No, there's Charles Leclerc as we head back down towards turn 1, as they're all actually on inters. Kvyat gets stuck on the apex through turn 1, so we've gone straight round him, but they're all now pitting onto intermediate tyres in this Grand Prix. The team still haven't given us the call for it yet, so I don't believe it's time. We'll just monitor the gap though to Charles Leclerc in front of us. This is where the strategies could really come into question. Team is saying they're ready if we want to take the risk, but at the moment I don't think it's worth it still at this stage of the Grand Prix until they give us a categorical call to come in. I just don't see why. I don't think we'll gain enough over the 10 laps between now and the end of the Grand Prix to recover the pit stop if it's not that big of an advantage. And you can see Charles Leclerc isn't able to get past Giovinazzi at the moment, so I'm not believing there's much to be had. Alright, Giovinazzi and Perez both into the pit lane as well here, so we might be one of the only ones now braving it out in this Grand Prix. Where are we going to re-emerge in this race? It could be about P4. Yeah, it is going to be P4 in this Grand Prix then, so behind both of the Ferraris and our teammate here. So this could be a massive weekend for Ferrari in the championship, but struggling a little bit with the rears. But let's just wait and see how well we can hold on over the next couple of laps. Oh, it's not great at the moment, I'll be honest. Hamilton sails past us down in towards the hairpin. We're having to use all the wet lines at the moment, trying to find any sort of dampness left on the circuit here as we head out onto the back straightaway. There you can see wheel spinning in 6th gear as we're just trying to keep the tyre temps down. I'm just worried if we pit we're going to be so far out of the points that we may as well stay out here and try to gamble it at this stage of the Grand Prix. It's a bit of an unorthodox strategy, but if we get a safety car or something, we could get a lifeline here. I feel like, again, yeah, we've just got to stay out at the moment. That's a lot of curb. Because if we pit, we're just going to lose so much time and be nowhere near the points. We won't gain any points if we do pit. We might just gain a couple if we don't. So we tried to get the power down ahead of Lance Stroll there, still battling out for 5th place. We could still, or we should still gain some championship points over Mercedes here, which is also critical. But it won't be many. I wonder if Stroll just thinks I'm trying to be really, really aggressive with my defending at this stage of the day. The team now are saying a new strategy. Feels a little bit late to be saying the intermediates now. But, yeah, I think, again, we're not going to score points if we pit. We may as well gamble it or wait for a safety car. And that's exactly the problem we had. Any sort of wheel spin, anything like that, and the places just fall away from us. We got Albon. Oh, that's not good. Through turn 1. Oh, it's all getting a bit feisty in this Grand Prix. We know we haven't made the right... Well, I wouldn't say the right call. I don't think we could have made the right call in this Grand Prix. The team told us about the inters far too late, as you can just see how much we're squirreling around through the first sector. Oh, come on. Keep it in a straight line. This is a proper test as all. Albon unfortunately gets a shove out wide. I think the same's going to happen to Guan Yu Zhou there. As you can just see, we're all over the road. It's really not great from us at the moment there, as the team's still trying to get us to come in onto inters. But still, we've just got to hang on out here. It might seem crazy, but like I said, we're not going to score points if we pit. We may as well just sit out here and try to get to the end of the race. Oh, here we go. Guan Yu Zhou, thou's got to run on us. The same can be said for Luca Giotto. Gonna have to defend in towards the hairpin. It's going to be 3 wide into the braking zone. Both of them slightly later on the brakes, but we hold the apex. And we do stay out just in front of them for now. This is so difficult. We're causing such a train with 8 laps to go there. Look at that Guan Yu Zhou just going for a full send on Luca Giotto, as we're just all over the road. Oh, here comes Giotto back down towards turn 1. Then we have to force him over onto the wet line because we need to. Oh, way too deep in towards turn 1 there, but can we get the power down on the exit? No. In a word, just no. Luca Giotto now up into 6th place here. We're down to 7th. As again, Guan Yu Zhou might try and look for something as we head in towards the S's. But, oh, just such a disappointing race from start to finish up to now. But if we can walk away with any points, it would be a huge boost for us.
Green flag. Safety
Oh.
car, safety car.
We got a safety car now in the Grand Prix. No idea what's happened there. Guan Yu Zhou's picked up a 5-second penalty.
Latifi, they're retiring.
Latifi's out of the Grand Prix as well. I think we've got 3 cars down the back straight, all with issues there. Latifi's out, Raikkonen's out as well. So what on earth has happened there? But it's given us a lifeline in this race. Giovinazzi's picked up 10 seconds worth of penalties. And now suddenly there's a chance we could walk away with some points if we can get into the pit lane. So like I said, it was a good job we waited for a safety car then. Not too sure what happened down the back straightaway there. But anyway, into the pits. Where are we going to re-emerge in this Grand Prix? And is it going to give us a chance? Try and score some points here. Giovinazzi and Perez both with penalties. So something massive must have kicked off down the back straightaway there. They're both in as well for new tyres. But we're going to dive it in onto a fresh set of the intermediates here. So we're going to have fresher inters to the end of the Grand Prix. And yet, look at that. We are going to be back out in P10 at the very worst here. But Jordan King is going to come out in P9 of this Grand Prix. So maybe out of nowhere, we spoke the praises of Williams in these last few Grand Prix. Sauber and Haas now in the hot seat to maybe sneak away a point. Right, well, 4 laps to go then here from Kota. And the safety car is about to head back into the pit lane here. We've got the Mercedes, who are, of course, our main constructors' rivals at the moment, still running in, I think, what's that, 6th and 4th place here. Charles Leclerc in P3 behind both of the Ferraris. We've got Jordan King in 9th, Danny Kvyat in 10th place as well. So there's a big chance to gain something here as long as we're brave on these final 4 laps. Quick but careful, I think is going to be the key here. We can definitely walk away with a little bit more, much fresher inters than anyone else. But let's just wait and see as we head in towards the final corner. There goes George Russell, who's pretty much led this race from the very start to now. Very much like his Mercedes wins he used to bag at the start of the year. But getting the green flag underway once more. 4 laps to go here from Kota. And we need to try and get more than P10. Oh, Lance Stroll with issues. I think he was running up fairly high up in the order still. So that is very disappointing for the Canadian in a year of what could have been for him and Racing Point here. But we're now closing up to the back of Jordan King. They see so much less wheel spin than we were getting on those full wet tyres here. And surely now we've got to go for a big old send on Jordan King. They relegate the Alfa Romeo back down to 10th place in this Grand Prix. He's trying to go defensive on me. But it's always going to happen there. It's an inevitable force, mate. And our former teammate does finally concede the position. But it could be an historic afternoon for Alfa Romeo. This could mean millions of dollars worth of extra prize money for him. And I don't think Magnussen really looks like he's going to be able to apply much pressure. You can already see the gap Stroll's creating behind him. Or in front of him, sorry, I should say. To that little top 4 cluster of cars there. Both Ferraris, our teammate, and Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton, of course, still with a hope at the championship this year, as long as he remains consistent in these final 3 Grand Prix. But he really needs, a lot of blunders from the guys behind him. Another big threat when you try and navigate, of course, is Danny Kvyat in this race, who is, he would still be P3 in the championship, but not far behind his teammate Gasly. Just got so much more grip than these guys at the moment. There is all Kvyat gets all on the inside curb out of the hairpin there. We might now be able to get a run on the AlphaTauri, but of course that thing, with the same Honda power unit as what we've got, is no slouch down the straights, of course. Can we get a run, though, on Danny Kvyat? We're going to have to go late up the inside. Oh, I don't want to be there. I'm sorry, Albon. That was not my intention. That might have given us a little bit of damage. Yes, it has. More front wing damage. As somehow Albon bails out on the exit of the corner there as well. That was not what I intended to do, but it's a double overtake, and I'm claiming it for now. Up to P7 of the Grand Prix. Stroll and Giotto might be all extra we can get in this race, with 2 laps to go. All over the back now of Luca Giotto, who again gets stuck behind Stroll through the hairpin there, and again does not allow himself the best run on the exit of the corner. What can a Mercedes car do as we head down the back straightaway? Of course, Lance Stroll still wants everything he can get from this championship as well, though, but Giotto not in the title hunt. And down the inside we go. A much better move than we did on Albon a lap ago. Wasn't really a move on Albon, but a big power slide on the exit of the corner there, just to show Giotto who's having the place. Stroll might be the last man we can get in this Grand Prix, as we've got just over 1 lap to go here. Oh, 1 lap to go then. DRS has suddenly been enabled in this Grand Prix. So clearly the FIA do believe it's dry enough, and this might give us a lifeline against Lance Stroll. With just 1 lap to go here, maybe now we can try and go for a move on the racing point down the straight without having to risk a big dive bomb on the final lap of this Grand Prix there. Giotto, though, tries to give us the hurry up through Sector 1, or Sector 2, sorry, even I should say, the end of the S's. It's a big punt from the rear end, or big fishtail, as we head down the hill as well. But can we get close enough to Sir Lancelot in this Grand Prix? This time around, he just completely cuts across the nose on the exit of the hairpin there. But now, with the DRS, this might be one lifeline in this Grand Prix. And look at that, straight up the inside of Lance Stroll. There's nothing he can do to defend himself. Luca Giotto might be able to have a look for something as well here. But if you told me at the end of lap 1 we would have come through for P5, if you told me at the end of lap 21 we could have still come through for P5 here, this race has been one of the weirdest ones I've ever had on F1 2020. Everything that could go wrong has, but every saving grace as well has also come for us here today. George Russell is going to take home an historic race win for Ferrari there. His 4th win of the year still leaves him top at the leaderboard. Max Verstappen comes through for P2 as well, of course, there. Charles Leclerc in P3, Hamilton 4th, but we come through for P5 and further extend our title lead over Pierre Gasly. That is what we needed.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
They take the checkered flag here in Austin after what has been another fabulous Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack. And having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari. So, let's review the drivers' standings. Mr. Monaco increases their championship lead. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today, as they make their way up the standings. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
I'll be honest with you guys, I completely forgot we started that race down in P12, so 7 places made up in the end was not a bad job done at all, if I do say so myself there. But yeah, George Russell, pole position, race victory, didn't quite get the fastest lap there. His teammate Verstappen took that by just 6/100ths of a second there, but I still stand by the fact that I reckon George Russell was the best teammate we've had on F1 2020 there, and him finishing ahead of Max Verstappen certainly goes to prove that once more here today there. Charles Leclerc P3 ahead of Lewis Hamilton in 4th, myself 5th, Stroll in 6th ahead of Luca Giotto, Albon, Kvyat and Carlos Sainz there means that just missing out Jordan King in P11 there by 0.8 of a second. That must be heartbreaking for Alfa Romeo at this late stage of the year there. But yeah, Carlos Sainz picking up points from last on the grid is not a bad job done by him at all there. Ocon ahead of Pierre Gasly there, so a big bitter blow for Pierre down in P13. That means we do further extend our title margin as we head in towards the Mexican Grand Prix next time around there. You can see the rest of your finishing order there. Penalties for Giovinazzi and Guan Yu Zhou there. Raikkonen, Latifi and Lando Norris all not making it through to the end of the Grand Prix as well. That means championship-wise, we remain at the top there, but George Russell once more becomes our biggest title threat as we head into the final 2 rounds of the year there. Lance Stroll, with that result, now mathematically means he is out of the championship battle as well there. And had he held on to that position ahead of ourselves, he would have remained in it. By 1 point, I'll admit, only by the 1 point. But yeah, at this stage of the year, though, as long as we don't lose more than 2 points to Russell next time out, and 4 to Pierre Gasly, it pretty much looks like we will be world champion before we even get to the Brazilian Grand Prix at the end of the year there. But still a lot of battles to watch out for behind us, of course. Yeah, Russell and Gasly duking it out for P2 at the moment. They could still win the title. We've saw it with Raikkonen back in 2008 there. It is not over until it, of course, is over there. Max Verstappen gets the jump on Giotto and Sergio Perez as well further down the order there. 70 now points for him. He could close up to the both Red Bulls by the end of the year if he remains consistent in the final couple of races there. And then at the rear of the field there, Jordan King now, best of the no scorers at this stage of the year there, jumps back past Giovinazzi and Latifi there. So that should mean Alfa Romeo, yeah, now back up into P9 overall there as well. Constructors-wise, though, now 18 points separate the top 3 there. We're back up into 2nd place there, 16 behind Mercedes. We just need to take 8 points out of them each Grand Prix between now and the end of the year there. It is all still to play for at this stage of the campaign. McLaren get the jump on Renault, and like we said, Alfa Romeo on count back now ahead of Williams once more with that big result for Jordan King. But 2 races to go, both championship battles still in the balance. I'll see you guys tomorrow, ready for the Mexican Grand Prix. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.